So yes, hello there, Peaches. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Can you actually see us, or do I look like a full-on ghost?
You look a little bit pale, but no, I think it comes up with the ambience and like it goes with the background.
I wear some, like the black, so it absorb all the light with my voice.
You look amazing. Don't worry. So Sam's just returning from a bathroom break.
I was just checking on my husband as well. Hi.
Hi. All right. Oh,
nice Thank you. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's nice to finally meet you.
I know. It's lovely. It's like, because obviously I've spoken to you, and I know how much you love Creature. So look at me plushie. I had to bring him.
My sister has just messaged and said, "You look absolutely stunning."
Oh, thank you. I made an effort. I tried.
Bless you. So yes, so welcome to the podcast. And Alexia, normally with the new guests, this is you making your debut on the podcast as well. So very exciting. We've like to say you've been a fan and we've talked quite a bit through Instagram and stuff. But if you want to sell yourself, to give you a little bit of nerdy credentials.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I'm on my phone, so it's confusing. So I've just put it so I can see both of you now.
Right.
Right. So, well, I'm Peaches and Scream. I kind of became a horror addict when I was a child, basically. And that's pretty much like my obsession. So I would say a massive horror nerd. Obviously, I do makeup, special effects, a little bit of everything. I used to do modelling a bit more back in the day. I did some modelling a while ago for Killstar, like a few years ago now.
Wow.
And various like latex designers and stuff like that. Yeah. So I've kind of had my hand in all different kinds of pies.
Your cosplay of the Hellraiser is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
Absolutely stunning. And I just love seeing your pictures. I love when you pop up on my Instagram. I'm like, oh, there's Peaches.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if you can see behind us my calendar.
Oh, the calendar. I was looking at the actual. Oh my gosh, there you are. Wow.
That was actually a collab with Horrify Me. So I went to, it was a convention. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was a couple of years ago now. So my brain's like, I think it was Weekend of the Dead in about 2018. And I went there in my usual sort of get up, which is kind of similar to this, like with a bit of blood or whatever.
Yeah.
And I actually won the competition. And the prize was a £250 voucher for a photo shoot with Horrify Me. So it was just insane. And like Tom Savini presented it to us, and I was literally like crying.
Oh my gosh. I love Horrify Me. I know they get a lot of criticism on Instagram. I am a full supporter. I think I found them through Pure Horror, her account.
They're amazing, honestly. Like
unreal. But yeah, you are getting a lot of love in the comments, and a lot of love on my sister.
I just want to say hello everyone, but I can't see the comments. I wish I could. So yeah. I'll just say hello everyone, that I love them. I don't know who's on, like, because I literally can only see you two. And then in the background, Annabelle's there and all the other dead things and stuff.
I was gonna say, my friend Jo Lawrence, she's got an Annabelle that's actually from the actual movie, and she actually puts it up. I don't know if you drive through Ashbrook or seen the pictures of Sunderland. Every day she'll put Annabelle in the window in a different position, so people drive past and get freaked out by her.
Oh my god! I love that. I would love that.
If Jo's still on, sorry if cutting out and not saying goodbye to her. I didn't get a chance to say bye.
Oh, that's fine. But yes, so we know you're a big cat friend as well. Like you say, you've got, is he called Bruce?
He's called Bruce Campbell after Ash from Evil Dead.
That's brilliant.
He's asleep at the minute, but I know for a fact he's going to intervene at some point. So if you see us like going like pointing and shit, it's because he's going to like try and jump up. I've got like a little table and.
Sorry, I'm being attacked by my cat at the moment. Dinah's under the table at getting at my feet. So
I've just had to go and remind my husband to go and feed ours because I haven't been fed yet.
Oh dear. So yes, so this hour is for you, young lady. So
what you got?
What's your topic?
Well, we're going to have to talk about horror, obviously. So I was just kind of going to go through things like, you know, where it started, like when did you see your first horror movie, stuff like that. can you even remember when you first saw
Yep.
your horror movie?
Oh yes.
Yes.
What was it?
Mine was Dolly Dearest. It's the reason I am absolutely horrified and terrified of dolls. I watched it when I was about 7, 8 year old.
Yeah.
Actually, I might have been a little bit younger because I don't believe my sister was around at this point, because we did share a bedroom, and for a very long time I had to sleep with my parents because that absolutely terrified us. But nothing else after that scared us. Like Freddie, Michael, they didn't scare me in the slightest until I was 10 years old and I was introduced to Hannibal Lecter. And I love them, but cannibals freak me out and they make me very queasy. Like the whole idea, like the idea that these people are real.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, there are genuine cannibals out there, freaks me out.
It's really
does.
Yeah.
It makes us go, like, honestly, I've gone cold inside just thinking about them. But yeah, Dolly Dearest was the first, Hannibal Lecter was the second, and I've generally not been that scared after that, really.
I've not seen that, believe it or not. I don't know how.
Dolly's like she's from the 80s. She's an absolute bitch. She's almost like, she look like statue wise Annabelle, face wise just your normal generic Dolly. She's awful. Can't buy her.
I think I've seen it, like as in like the doll. I think I know what the doll is, but I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, she made. I'd never owned baby dolls because of her.
Oh God, sorry. And do you know Annabelle? This is literally, she sits next to my fireplace as well. So it's like she was already in position. I didn't think I should have had like a.
Oh no, she's amazing. Like, to be honest,
she's amazing. Like Annabelle doesn't freak us out, and it's only because we used to share the same kind of makeup, should I say, because my eyebrows looked very similar to hers a few years ago when I used to shave them off and draw them on. So I kind of had like a little connection with Annabelle.
Yeah.
Not that scared of her. But Paul, sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah. It's a difficult one because like I wouldn't really class it as a scary horror, but the earliest memories probably was watching Lost Boys, like say as a kid.
I love Lost Boys.
That was probably my first thing, but the first one that actually did scare me, and again it's one of my favorite films to this day, was Jaws. Seeing that, and again we've told the story before. After I watched that, I wouldn't even go near the water. Like living down Roker at the time. My mum and dad, my mum, like during the summer holidays, used to take us to Roker Beach and sit in the cat and dog steps, and we used to just go crazy. But I would not go near the water, like that down, and even think the shark was going to come down Sunland Beach, in case Jaws come and get us. There was even a time I was terrified to go to Crow Tree swimming baths because I thought there might have been a shark there. And then, like I say, because your mind plays that many tricks on you, but and have that sound as well. You'll always hear that sound, but it's still now one of my absolute favorite films to watch, and I'll always revisit. We'll not talk about the sequels because the sequels didn't go great, but yeah, Jaws was probably the one that stands out as my earliest memory to actually scare me.
Yeah, it's quite it's still quite intense now. Like obviously I wasn't scared of it or anything. I loved it when I was a kid, but when you're a child, you shouldn't really be watching those things, allegedly. So I can kind of see why you'd be terrified, you know?
I think back in the 80s, parents were a little bit more liberal, so...
Yeah, like, mine, but sometimes it was a case where mine was what they didn't know didn't hurt them, so I didn't tell them until I had to go and sleep in their bedroom for nearly a year because a doll scared me.
Honestly, like, back in the days of, obviously, VHS, I feel so old saying that.
Don't worry.
But
you're in good company.
VHS days, before Blockbuster even, there was a sort of, you know, when you get your corner shops and
did you have the man in the van? We had a man in the van.
He wasn't in the van. It was like a corner shop sort of thing. And I used to go in there with my mum. She used to get things for us.
Yeah.
Get things.
Yeah.
Oh, I covered it because like the shop near where I grew up, like my mum went in and rented Alien 3 when that came out on VHS. Yeah. And I was in there with them, and like the woman saw I was going, I want that one.
Oh, we just had the man in the van who used to come around and used to rent video. I mean, don't get us wrong, we used to go to the shop as well and rent from there, but the man in the van used to get us. And also my friend had anything. My friend is the reason I love Elvira. I was introduced to Elvira when I was like 9 years old, and that was like, oh, if I could only imagine to aspire to be like that, that's what I want.
She's amazing, isn't she? Like, I actually met her at a horror convention in 2017.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was lovely, but she wasn't dressed as Elvira or anything.
All right.
She was just lovely. She's really nice.
Honestly, wouldn't be bothered if she was just Cassandra Peterson. Just the idea that woman has carried a character from the 80s till now and is still today as popular as she was when she first came out.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Obviously, she's been a huge part of people's sexual awakenings as well, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie there. Like, say when I first saw Elvira, something awakened in me, and that was just amazing. But yes.
I think it was my first encounter with femininity, to be honest, because up until then I was very much like, and I still am today, like I still dress like a 12-year-old boy, but I generally was a 12-year-old girl, and she was like my first look at like femininity. Like that was feminine to me, and I loved that. And she was unafraid and unapologetic, and this was me kind of thing. I love her. Absolutely.
She was really ballsy. She didn't play the damsel in distress type outfit. Like, say, it was always like she got the shit done. Like Elvira, was it Queen of the? No, it wasn't Queen of the Dark. Mistress of the Dark. That thing. It was campy and it was fun, but she was never the victim or say needing someone to help her out. She used a femininity to get men to do things that she needed, but it was never, like I say, it was never kind of like, oh, I need a man to come and help us type thing. It was more like saying,
I can do it myself. I'm more than capable of doing this myself.
What was role model?
Oh, definitely. What was yours, then, Peaches? Did you have like something that like, what was it that triggered you into horror?
Oh, well, to be honest, both my auntie and my nana, I used to go to their house like every weekend and stay over. And I started watching sort of horror at a very young age. I can't exactly remember, but it was really young. I don't know my first one, but it was a mixture of like, was it Hammer horror, the Universal horror.
The classic monsters type thing.
Yeah. Obviously Freddy, Pinhead, Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, all of the classics. The only movie that terrified me as a kid was The Exorcist, and I mean, like, it really shit me up for like a little while. I think it was a number of reasons. Well, because one, I shouldn't have been watching it.
No.
Two, it was like, I knew the story behind it because my auntie told us. She shouldn't have been telling us. She told us it was based on a true story, but it happened to like a boy. This is allegedly. So it was an element of, oh my God, this shit is actually real. The special effects and everything, and the voice. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of it now, but that was the one that actually terrified me.
It's my favorite.
Point of insanity. To be honest.
It's my favorite film. Like Ghostbusters, Exorcist, are two of my favorite films of all time. I absolutely I watch it every Halloween. I didn't watch it this Halloween only because I've kind of I've not dropped off from horror. I've just given it a break. For the last few years, it's driven us like to the point where I'm drained. I'm pretty much drained, and I needed a break. But I adore that film so much. It is still to this day, regardless how many times you see it, will scare the shit out of you.
It is very chilling. I was actually in my notes, that was one of the movies we were going to discuss, like, well, just about how obviously that was what messed me up when I watched that as a child, and that I shouldn't have watched it. And my mum, I think, actually got us the VHS.
Well done, Mum.
I watched it on my own as well, in the dark, at like silly o'clock in the morning. And it was windy outside, so the trees were going against the window. So there was all of that.
So everything played in the same thing, but
literally.
Because we talked about like when I talked about The Exorcist before, it was during the time when it was talked about, it was during the video nasty stage. You couldn't actually get hold of it. So I didn't actually get to see it until it came out on DVD, and when it was finally past the censors. It was minus the spider walking scene that came out a little bit later. But again, I think it'd been built up too much for me and been told about this scariest film ever thing that people had been passing out for. So I built it up in my head that it was going to be absolutely terrifying. And it didn't scare us when I first watched it. It was kind of like, didn't quite get it. I enjoy it more now, but I still think I wish I didn't get that build up when I was a kid, just that I was being told and pressurized that this was going to be this absolutely frightening film, but didn't quite have the same effect on me.
My husband watched it in like a few years ago, and he absolutely howled at it. He thought it was so funny, especially when she slaps Regan across the face. He was like, "Whoa!" And he was finding funny elements in it. But I am like, if I love something, I'm deep diving on it, and I have watched documentary, read books, like podcasts, anything I can get my hands on to know the nitty gritty of this film. And it makes it all the more special of what I know about it and the background of it and how they made it, and you know the strenuous strain that he put the actors under just to get the performance that you see on screen. Like it just, all those little elements it makes it all the more special for us, and that's why it will always be one of my favorite films.
Yeah, like I mean, like I say, when I wrote in my notes, because I was trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. So obviously I mentioned that I knew it was based on a true story and stuff like that. And obviously I shouldn't have been watching it really. No. And then obviously it's Ellen Burstyn, she obviously injured herself like legit on the set. Which should get a lot of money for that now if she sees them, because
but she just accepts that that's the process. It was the scene where she gets pulled across the room.
Yeah, they had that on a cable wire. Yeah, that was it.
And they just literally yanked her, and he nearly broke her back. The woman who done the voice of Regan was so dedicated to the role that she chomped on raw eggs, smoked 60 a day, like proper, like just anything to make that voice as gravelly and growly as she possibly could.
Eileen Dietz, isn't it?
Yes,
I've met her. She's really canny.
Oh my gosh!
Oh bless her.
Oh my gosh!
She's really,
that's amazing.
Yeah. I've got a photo of her somewhere. Like it was a few years ago now, but she's really canny.
Oh, that is absolutely amazing. She was such a huge part because that voice is so iconic. Like that's an iconic voice in horror history.
Yeah,
it's definitely that. The temperature in the room, where I mean, obviously that people knew that because he dropped the temperature so much. So when you're looking at, you know, they're frozen. That is frozen breath. They're like absolutely freezing. He used to shoot guns to get reactions out of people. Like William Friedkin is a maniac, but an absolute genius at what he did in that film.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think he'd get away with it now, but I just think for some reason that era, like even from the 50s onwards, like the different sort of atmosphere in each movie. I don't know what it was about the 70s and the 80s, especially with The Exorcist. It was very like gritty and like
it was more realistic, like, and they went harder, like realistic. I think in the 70s it was a lot more like, if you go with like films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well, if you even if you don't see much, it's more to do with the screening and like how it's filmed and stuff like that. In the 80s it went more out there, but again it was quite dark and brutal and stuff.
I think the 80s was more realistic horror. Like you had the likes, not like you had the likes of The Exorcist, something that happened in like a house, Rosemary's Baby. 70s was a lot of satanic, which like, and I went through a phase of like finding the obscure, and there was some cracking ones. Like Wicker Man on acid. Like it was absolutely amazing. It's just funny how horror, how much it changes like through the times. It's so weird.
Decades.
Each decade can be identified. It's crazy.
It's can you remember, I was going to talk about The Omen, the 1976 one. That movie, I'm obsessed with the controversy and the sort of the curse around it. I've got it all wrote down. There's a whole can of worms down there. I would be here for hours talking about it. But I remember hearing that when I was younger as well. It was my auntie who told us. So I wrote a couple of things down to remind us, but that came off the back of The Exorcist. So The Exorcist was it 73?
Yeah, and then
The Omen 76. So they were kind of, I don't know if they were kind of like maybe inspired by like The Exorcist and seeing how far they could push things with the devil and all that.
Yeah, exactly, because the Exorcist pushed church and state and, you know, the religious aspects of it. It really did push it. The Omen really pushed it.
Yeah.
Really pushed it. I've not heard any controversy or like curse around The Omen. I love the movie. I just don't know a lot about. Like, obviously they've gone and pissed the Catholics or the Christians off, whichever who was.
Honestly, you need to watch the Omen, the Curse of the Omen. I've wrote it down because it's do you want us to reel off what I had wrote down? Just
Please.
To remind myself.
Yeah.
I've watched, to be honest, the movie itself, obviously I love it and I watched that when I was a kid, but I feel like I'm more interested in the actual documentary that was afterwards, like The Curse. So obviously there was a lot of speculation around it back in the day that it was cursed, even like during filming and stuff. And I always forget the names of people, so I literally had to.
Don't worry, we've been a podcast full of that as well.
It was Gregory Peck.
Yeah.
He was due to get on a plane, and he cancelled the plane. The plane crashed and killed everyone on that flight.
No, I read that as well.
One thing happening. This is why I feel like I should have had like a trigger warning on, because some of the stuff people don't like it. But so there was that happen. I'll not say everything, just so you can watch the documentary, because it is really interesting. It will make your like head like flip open. I don't know if you like sort of get into them holes of like conspiracy theories and like aliens and stuff like that.
He does.
The truth is out there, trust us.
So then obviously after that, the special effects guy, he was also supposed to get on the plane as well. And what happened there? I think it was Gregory got on the plane again on a different one, and it was hit by lightning.
Yeah.
So there was that.
No, I read about that. Like I said, I read about the plane incident because Gregory Peck, like, he doesn't like talk. Well, he didn't like talking about it for a while. He wouldn't do any interviews about the Omen and stuff like that for a long time.
Didn't his son die? And just before this, and this is the reason why he did it, was to try and grieve the death of his son.
I think I vaguely remember that actually.
He was doing it in order to like grieve properly, and he felt that this was the right movie to do that in.
Yeah,
I'm sure I read something about that.
Yeah, because apparently the curse seemed to like allegedly follow him around. And then
it sounds like death was out for him, really.
Final Destination style.
Yeah.
This last one, like I say, I had to make a note. Like I've seen it that many times, just in case I forgot anything. So it was it the special effects designer of the movie. He was in the car with his wife, and they had a crash, and she got decapitated. Very much like the scene. The makeup scene that he had done in the movie.
Yeah,
like the line and everything.
Yeah, Charlotte's just said in the comments about it as well that there was a big car crash on the set. That I didn't hear about the decapitation, but I knew someone had died because of it. So,
oh my god! Was he the guy who did Thingy's head with a sheer of glass?
Yes.
Holy
shit! It was his wife. I've got legit goosebumps. I'm getting proper like, I just love this shit. Honestly, it's amazing.
I'm just getting chills from that. That's
it's terrifying and it's really sad and tragic. But like, I just like to sort of look into things. Do you know what I mean?
Delve into like, say, especially when when it goes around like this, because I think again, I know it sounds weird. There's nothing more pure than a horror film or a horror story. Because it's like the basics tones of storytelling. Like everyone likes to be scared, everyone likes to be a big bad or and to beat them. But I think the more interesting ones as well is the ones where you don't always get the perfect ending or the happy ending, especially when it comes to horrors or when it leaves it open to your interpretation.
Exactly.
That's why I like to say we've had the conversation a million times about the Halloween films as well.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we never, like in the original Halloween, you never knew why Michael Myers killed. It just did. and left you up to that interpretation, that aspect. Again, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a good point as well, because it's full of screaming, but there's very little blood, and you don't actually see people getting killed. So it gives you that imagination to see you think what's going on. That makes the aspects worse.
Sometimes horror is very good at making the audience not feel dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like
my cat's at my feet. I knew he would be. He's slept most of the day, and he's waited until now just to I knew he was going to do it. He does it every time.
Don't worry. Like Dinah's just went to sleep now.
Mine aren't allowed in. They wouldn't shut up.
The accident, obviously, going back to the Omen one, where they crashed, the sign said Omen, Route 666.
What?
Yeah. So I'll leave you with that little one and watch the documentary. I think it's on YouTube, but there's other stuff involved. But that totally was messed up, and really tragic. I can't even imagine.
There was a series on Shudder, I think, as well. Was it the Dark Curses of films that had lots of different films, and they had the Twilight Zone tragedy and stuff like that.
That one.
That when you get them type of stories, it kind of makes the film
more interesting
and more I haven't watched The Omen in years, but now I've got England that I want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It was never one of my favorite horror films, I'll be honest. Some of the aspects, I was always more of an 80s fan. I grew up, as you said, watching Hammer horror and watching Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and all the Universal monsters like the Wolfman and
Creature.
Creature of the
It's my favorite.
Creature.
But say the Invisible Man as well, that story is so creepy as well. But the 80s for me was always when I was, because anything from the 80s I just adore. It was the best decade. I can still remember watching because I didn't watch the first Freddy. I think I started on A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
That seems to be a starting point for a lot of people. A lot of people didn't jump in on the first one and went straight to 3. And I'm not a big enough fan of Freddy to understand why.
Because I think Dream Warriors because Dream Warriors came out when it came out. It was shown on TV or shown on Sky, but Freddy was never shown till much later on. I think it was a Halloween special years after it was released that they actually showed on Channel 4 Nightmare on Elm Street. It was a double bill with Alien.
But my nana was terrified of Freddy.
I don't find him scary. I didn't find the concept of him scary, the actual image of him. I tell you what I did find. So when I found Creature, when you mentioned Universal Monsters, I found Creature a few years ago. And when I watched it...
Yeah, sorry. If you see me hand just waving, I'm not trying to conjure ghosts up. It's me.
Hey, Bruce. No, I genuinely, the scene where he's in the cage and you just see his eyes. Oh, hey, beautiful. Oh, you're so cute. Mine would never let me do that. Oh, sweetheart. He's adorable.
He's my best friend. Want to be best friends?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, of course I am. But yeah, the scene where Creature is in the cage in the water and you can just see his eyes just above that, and he's not moving. There's no movement from him. I have never felt fear like it. Because I didn't know what he was. I did not know what he was going to do.
Yeah,
he was so unpredictable. I couldn't call it. Is he going to just jump up? Am I getting a jump scare, or is this how it's staying? I was terrified, and that was only a few years ago when I finally found Creature, because I'd never really been a big fan of the Universal horrors. Love the idea of them. Just never really went out my way to watch them, and I was like, no, I'm gonna watch it. I watched Frankenstein. I was so angry at Frankenstein.
I love Frankenstein.
I love it, but I was so angry at the film. The fact that should never have happened in the first place. He should never have been put in that position. And then I watched Creature and I loved it.
Yeah, because I think with the Universal Monsters, I feel like a lot of them weren't really monsters. So they were like the misunderstood ones, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like everyone kind of just like
the humans were the monsters.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just felt sorry for them. I felt really bad for Creature, and like Frankenstein.
Yeah, you can't really help but feel sorry for, like, say, Frankenstein. It's a similar type of aspect to King Kong, because King Kong was one of the first, like, say, monster horror films as well. As I said, it was just a creature taking out his element, and it was man that it was beauty that slayed the beast, because that was the big line from it. But the whole, if they just left him in the jungle and didn't bring him to New York, he wouldn't have had met his fate, which was quite depressing. So man's not so the scariest thing is normally is man is the worst aspect to most films.
Bunch of dickheads.
It really is. Sorry, I'm kind of watching him now because the table that I've got set up is like a fold-up one.
Right. Oh my god, you don't need your cat folding up on the table.
So I'm like, he's gone onto me fancy dining table now. He's obsessed with it as well. He's obsessed with like everything that isn't like everything that's mine.
Yeah.
Well, it's his as well.
It's his. It's always going to be his. You don't get anything. You don't get anything of your own when you've got cats.
Yeah, no, to be fair, like he's allowed to do everything. He's spoiled as well.
Very much like my little boy. I actually said no to him for the first time in 9 years, and it broke my heart.
I'm quite interested as well, and like I know we've talked about like say what isn't like where horror's going at the moment as well, because I think it's like a lot of it's going into like the TV realm, especially with like the 2 Netflix series like Haunted in Hill House and Blythe Manor that came out that done really well. But also again, I don't know if you have watched it. The new Chucky TV show is absolutely brilliant.
Look as well. I've got me Chucky water. Red slit end.
But it's
That's
absolutely
amazing.
brilliant. I thought I was a bit skeptical, thinking it was what it was going to be like and what it was going to do, but they've changed the child's play and like the story mythology a little bit round. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's done brilliantly. Like Brad Dourif's daughter's in it as well, and she's playing a quite interesting part. Jennifer Tilly's back as well, being absolutely amazing as normal. But it's just an interesting take on the whole like aspect. But if I see anything, it'll be like spoilers. But I would certainly recommend giving that one a go. But like I'm very interested in what they're going to do next with like the Haunting saga. Like the Haunting in Hill House was one of the best things I've seen in TV wise in a long time.
Some of the best storytelling comes out of that man, Michael Flanagan. Is it Mike Flanagan? He knows how to sell a story. Yeah. So good.
No, my cat's trying to like get things off the table now. I knew this was going to happen. Honestly, I'm just expecting some kind of big crash. This is the problem.
Don't worry. Pictures I was out of commission for an hour while my computer decided to break on us.
What happened? Was it just?
It was honestly, I can't tell you because I thought it was the internet connection. So I bought a new Ethernet cable and I'm on my husband's computer, had 0 problems using the same internet. I generally don't know at this point. I won't be using it again. That's for sure. Not until he sorts it out will I be using that computer. So he's lost his for a bit.
That's it. So what is like I've caught like a few things today, like a few of the lives, like early this morning and then this afternoon. So I've kind of missed a few of them. So was it like we're talking about like books and things, weren't there?
Yeah, we've had a lot of topics like books. Sam's sister did a cat quiz, which totally threw us off guard, which was done. Also, we've had Room 101, which was the last one, which was done brilliantly. But we've talked Friends.
Friends.
I've seen that. Yeah. I can't remember which other ones. I've just kind of been on and off.
We'll be putting all the videos up later, so don't worry. Catch up.
I'd like to see what everyone else had to talk about. Like I know I've seen the list and everything, but it'll be interesting.
No, Jake, and we talked about like you say Mario versus Sonic, which went like I say it got a little bit heated at times, but it was fine. But no,
it was fine.
Yeah, but like I say with us, like like I say, horrors with me and Sam, it is a big genre for us. We're big horror fans ever since we were kids. Like we spent the whole of October as well talking about the whole horror aspect, which was amazing. Some of the conversations, but I'll be quite interested to know, like say, I know you've talked about your starting points, but what are the big horror aspects to you? What's been the standouts? Like say, even in the past or even lately?
Well, the current ones has to be The Conjuring, like Universe, Annabelle. I'm obsessed with James Wan. I think he's amazing. Like as a director anyway, like I feel like The Conjuring, Annabelle, Insidious, like all of them, they're just, to me, they're amazing. I know loads of people hate them and they think they're shit and like relying on jump scares. But I love the way they do the makeup. I love the sort of the music that you use.
Yeah, the sound is really the sound in especially in Insidious, like the music throughout that like really does play
really
on
chilling
like,
and,
you're not going to get any hate from The Conjuring or Insidious from us because we absolutely love I love this style of horror. I think I absolutely adore it. And I love the franchise as well. James Wan is incredible at what he does, and jump scare is, I love them, mate. Like I live for them. Like I'm terrified of them, but I still live for them. I think they're brilliant.
He's really good because have you seen Dead Silence?
Yes, with the dolls.
Mary Shaw, the doll. That's it, Billy and Mary Shaw. That's another James Wan one that I really like. Yeah,
it was like an early one just before. Was it just before the Blumhouse or round about the Blumhouse starting up?
I can't remember because he did films. Saw as well, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. It was the first Saw that he did. Then I think Dead Silence came out because that's the one with the doll and the finger.
Yes, Billy. I tried to. There was a competition. The lady who runs Ghostly Goods, she's lovely. We were trying to sort of, me and my friend were trying to win the Billy doll. There was a competition running a while ago, and I really wanted it to go with like Annabelle, like on each side of my fireplace. But
it would definitely work.
Yeah. So what else was there? He did Fast and the Furious as well. I can't remember which one. Was it the first one or the fifth one?
Didn't he do Tokyo Drift?
I can't remember. He's done a few of them, to be honest. I can say after the first one, it got quite ridiculous, and
I've never seen any of them.
I think the next one, they're hitting that the Fast and the Furious is going to space. I think the joke one is going to be the next jump. But I'm trying to think because he does dip his toe like the last I know he's done Aquaman and he's doing Aquaman 2. So that's in dipping his toe in the superhero world, but I don't think he should stray too far away from the horror genre as well, because that's where he's made his bread and butter. Sorry, but I think some of, like say, the Conjurings, like the first and the second one was a bit not as great, just because we knew the story of the Enfield haunting. That aspect was, I think it would probably be better for Americans than for us in the UK. But and I know we did the review of The Conjuring 3 where it didn't quite work as well.
Didn't hit the mark.
I love that, but because I was expecting to be massively let down because I seen the trailer and I was like, this is going to be shit and I'm going to be really disappointed, because I felt a bit like that with The Nun as well. Like the makeup was amazing and everything, but it was a bit of a, like compared to the other ones,
it was a bit of a letdown. Yeah.
I
remember the build up for The Nun. Like I was on that train. Like I couldn't wait. But I couldn't see it. And when we went to the pictures to see it, it was that when it was in darkness, it was like I could not make out these people, and I was like, what's going on? Like I can't see it. Like I physically couldn't see it, and it's not because my eyesight shit. It's because the screening was absolutely terrible. And then I was like, do you know what? Screening aside, the story wasn't even that good.
No,
like it's not brilliant. And the fact that you have that reveal at the end is the guy who was there was the guy from the first exorcism that you see in the first Conjuring, and I'm like, I waited around for that.
Yeah, I was expecting, like, I don't know, like, you know how obviously The Conjuring 2, like how she is in that. I don't know, because she was very sort of like, I mean, I'm not, to be honest, not a lot scares me, but apart from The Exorcist when I was a kid, obviously. But I don't know if she was more sort of, like just the makeup. She was very like sort of terrifying and like her teeth and everything. And
I think in The Conjuring too, they built her up, and especially with Lorraine saying that that it's the big baddie type thing that she saw death, and so like say so his passing because of this character, that's when it built up from, but then it kind of didn't lead. But I think the reason why I was a bit disappointed with The Conjuring 3 is the aspect of the witches part was so interesting, and how like the black magic and stuff thing, and they didn't really go into it that hard. It kind of teased on I wanted to know more. That's where I wanted to go, and they didn't quite go to the level I wanted to find out more about. Like say the priest's daughter and how she got involved. And I know sometimes I say let us make our minds up, but that was so interesting. That's where the story should have been taken, and that's why I think it felt a bit like a misstep, if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely. Like because obviously see like there was a lot of hype around it though as well, so that was that an element of it, you think?
Possibly, but that's why I like say I love the Insidious films, like not just like the first one. I love because it's like an extenuation to the story, but it doesn't go too far away, but it gives you clear instructions what this world is and how it works. And the characters in that are so entertaining. Like that, I can't remember her name, but the old woman who's the psychic who passes away at the first one and comes back as a ghost.
I love Elise.
Yeah, but
what's her name? I forgot her real name.
Yeah,
I know. I'll fact check.
Brain, this is what happens. Like that's why I write things down, because like when I'm chatting, sometimes my brain just goes like.
Don't worry. Like say we've been doing this for 30 episodes and we can't remember names. Like we've called people by wrong names and stuff.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know how you're feeling, by the way. Like, are you feeling like dead or what?
Yeah, I'm all right.
No, I'm fine. I'm a little bit tired, but it's only because I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it'd be more fatigue. Like say I normally do about 10 hours at work on the phones anyway, so
my working day is 10 hours a day, so this is nothing. She's called Lynn Shay.
Lynn Shay, yeah. But it's nice talking to people with like different interests, and I think having
totally, it's interesting, isn't it?
And having someone different come on every hour just to keep us something a little bit different as well was probably the right idea, I think.
Have you stayed hydrated and have you eaten?
Is Donna telling us off again?
I have absolutely pounded.
I'm like everyone's mom, like whatever, like I need to eat now, hydrate yourself.
I am just basically on a sugar high at the minute. I've eaten popcorn, Maltesers. I've got me cheap cherry pop because I'm obsessed with it. The cheaper the better. Like honestly, 20 pence cherry pop, and I am.
Yeah. You know the Panda Pop back in the day.
Panda Pop. Yeah. You know from the North.
We're going to do the Vic and Bob sketch now. Panda Pop.
Panda. I can't remember that.
It was like on a sketch show that if you search on YouTube, Vic Reeves and Bob Martin bought me Panda Pop. Honestly, it's one of the funniest thing. 50 pence for Panda Pop.
I used to love that. I'm trying to think of the other ones I used to have. I can't remember. I love how we just ended up talking about like, was it 80s or 90s pop?
I think it was the early 90s pop. Yeah,
was it bar or something? You remember the glass bottles, and you used to get 15 pence from the shop if you brought them back.
Iron Brew. They used to do that bottle, didn't they?
And the cream soda as well.
Iron as well.
Iron Brew used to burn the back of your throat as well if you drank it too fast. That was when they stopped putting health warnings and stuff, like Disco Crisps as well. They used to burn you when you eat them. But yes. Trying to think of like other horror films, like say that's had a huge impact, because other than going to the classics like Halloween's my go-to film. Just recently watched them all again, and again it gets a lot of shit, but I still love Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch is one of my favourites.
The Silver Shamrock song. When I went to For the Love of Horror, what's his name? Tom was obviously there, but he I don't think he was doing photos at his table, because like I sort of left everything to the last minute to get me photo ops, but I didn't get the chance to get a photo of him basically. But I remember him being on stage, and that song was in my head, like Silver Shamrock, and I was like,
what day were you there?
Both days.
I was there on the Saturday.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I was doing I don't know if you saw the wedding.
I was there at the wedding. I saw it.
Yeah, I did the makeup for Carrie and Mike. They obviously, they had the horror wedding. It was amazing.
She looked incredible.
It was amazing, like such a good experience. And I was honoured that someone, like, people ask us to do their wedding, like the makeup and stuff. Tim Capello, when he come on stage, I just started crying.
I met him in 2019 when I went for the Love of Horror for the first time, and honestly can't speak highly of the nicest guy ever.
He is.
Like, he had time because we weren't getting anything signed. I was just standing with someone. I was standing with Carolyn's brother while he got his book. He had this Lost Boys book that he wanted signing. He made time for us. He stood and talked to us and asked if we were okay. His wife was, he's just so lovely.
He's
such a lovely guy.
Yeah, like it was, well, the 2019, I've been all of them, like the conventions, but the 2019 one, I didn't get a photo with him. So it was obviously this year I did. And he made us do a funny one, and he was like, you have to post this photo. So like, I think it's on my Facebook, and I'm just like, made laugh or something, and I've got my hand up, but it's hilarious, and I genuinely look like really happy, like, because he was just making us laugh. And we spent most of the time in the queue when I was meeting him. We ended up talking about skincare and like body oil, like what does he use on his body, and we're talking about like skincare, and never spoke about the Lost Boys, just what skincare do you use?
We talked to him about his time with Tina Turner, because he was Tina Turner's saxophone player, and he was telling us like about that. He's such a, like, we were like, I did not know that. Yeah, he was Tina Turner's sax player. He was just a genuinely lovely guy. And we went because we didn't do any photos this year. We literally just went down because we love the event, like we love the event, like the venue. And we ended up just doing a lot of shopping. And for all I went to a horror convention, I walked out with vintage Ghostbuster figures and a Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I could have had anything. And I walked out with I nearly walked out with a Jar Jar.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that weekend did I buy. The only thing I bought was they had this like Dracula alcohol for my dad, because he looks after my cat and house sits and everything. You know, he sits with the Ben. And I brought him, like, I wanted to get the bigger bottle, but they had these like mini liqueurs, and it had the Bela Lugosi Dracula on, and it was some liqueur of like 40%. He drank it straight away, like, but that's all I brought back, I think. And me photo ops, that was it.
Yeah, I tell you who I did see and actually said hello to and said, oh my God, you look amazing, and didn't know it was her, was Jessica Fox from the Facebook group. She was dressed up all red. She was like a red devil. She looked absolutely incredible, and she stood right next to us while we were talking to someone. We were talking to one of the vendors who Carolyn knows, and she's standing here, and I'm like, wow, you look really amazing. And our partner's there, who's dressed up as Bill Moseley's character from House of a Thousand Corpses, but like the
Otis.
It was, I think it was Otis, but it was like, it might not have been. It was definitely a Bill Moseley character. It was like white face, long hair, black cross.
Yeah.
It is House. It's his get up at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, when
they're doing the ceremony.
Yeah,
that's it.
I love that.
So that's that. He was dressed up like that, and I'm just standing there like, yeah, you look really cool. And then she walks away, and then later on puts a picture on Facebook and say like, oh, I'm at the For Love of Horror convention. I was like, I've just been standing next to you.
Yeah, like honestly, there was so many moments like that where there's people like I know from online, and then it's like you stand and sometimes I can't like recognize people or whatever. Like but there was a lot of people that I didn't see there because it was so busy. I think everyone was like doing their own sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people I didn't get to see. Like.
So who's the most So who's the most interesting guest you've seen there? Like, as you said, you've been there through the years. So which one would you say would be your favorite, shall we say?
trying to think. He wasn't at that event. It was the Birmingham Film and Comic Con, but it was Robert Englund. He was amazing.
I met him in Manchester, and he was like such a gentleman. Like, he would take time with anyone. He would either be in character or not character, but it's so much fun.
He was lovely, and like it was him and Tim Curry, of course. Like when I was for the Love of Horror, that I don't know, with Tim Curry and Robert Englund, there were a couple of like my favorites, and I was literally nearly crying. Like, I'm really emotional. It was just, I haven't really had it with anyone else before, just those two. And I just got all this emotion. I went really like quiet and like awkward.
But you take it all in though. That's the thing. It's you wouldn't know what to say.
It's because you don't know how to express like your gratitude for like you don't know what you don't know what you've done for my life kind of thing. And you'll never be able to express it. So you just cry.
It's like, and I held them back. Like, I must admit, I was like,
I wouldn't have. I'd have been hysterical.
I would have been Tim Curry. You were the darkness. You were the devil. You were amazing in Legend.
You're Frankenfurter.
He's my Pennywise. Yeah, like those two definitely. There's been other ones. I mean, Kane Hodder. He was really cool and fun. I got choked because he's not allowed to do the actual like chokehold anymore. So for the photos, he was dressed obviously as Jason, and he kind of just put us in sort of like a headlock sort of thing. That was good.
Kane's a dedicated he's a dedicated horror fan. Like there's dedication behind that guy.
Yeah, I've
got a lot of time for him. Lots of time.
Who else? There's been quite a few people. Obviously I've met Cassandra Peterson.
Jealous.
His name. You know the Bride in Black from Insidious 2?
Yeah.
Tom, what's his second name? Tom.
I don't know his name, but I remember his face and stuff. It was quite like sinister because you never thought it would be that way.
He was such a character. I loved like meeting him. He was such a character. Who else was there? Do you know, there's been so many, I'll forget. Like, I'll probably end up putting a list of them in the chat or something.
I've seen this person, then people will be like, if they haven't watched today, like, what you bragging for?
There's been so many. I'm trying to think, because obviously I met a few of them when I was dressed in my Pinhead get up.
My gosh.
I still haven't met Doug Bradley. And I'm like, I need to meet him. Like,
I was gonna say, he does the circuit and stuff like that as well.
He hasn't been back since 2016, I think it was, but I missed it. That was good.
He's been doing a lot on YouTube recently, hasn't he? He's been doing some reading.
Yeah, I like his stories, like his audiobooks, and I like the little bits he's done for like Cradle of Filth, and I love how he likes the band Ghosts as well. I think he does, because I think he was expecting them to be like, like Scream or like or whatever. I remember reading an interview with him, and he said he liked them.
Did you not see Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich?
Oh yes, of course. I was the Scream sandwich in the middle. Scream sandwich, I called it.
So, with the new Scream film coming out, have you given any thought on just on the trailer alone? He's going to be in the film. He's going to be in the film. I think it's Matthew Lillard.
Yeah,
I think it's all connected to Matthew Lillard. He doesn't.
Yeah, I think it might be. I mean, it's hard to say though, isn't it? Because
the trailer said that there was a family connection to each victim. To the
I think what they're going to do. This is my idea, and since thinking about it, it's going to be like a Jay and Silent Bob reboot situation where they're going to redo the first film. All the kills are going to be family members of the people that's being killed. So probably see a relative of the Steve, the footballer guy at the first, then Casey Becker going through like all their deaths. That's why they've got them in the groups, and all the family members are quite. That's why I think it's a thing. I can't see how they can bring Matthew Lillard back. I again, they possibly can because it's Hollywood. But if they're going to reboot it, they'll have. I think saying goodbye to some major characters, and we need a new fresh face. I don't think Matthew Lillard will. Sorry to say, will be enough of a surprise for me.
I don't know. I think everyone would love it though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think that's what the aim could be. I love Skeet Ulrich's reply to someone who says, "Are you in the new movie?" And he's like, "Gunshot to the head, you cannot get around."
That's a good point. But actually, you've just reminded us, when you had the House of a Thousand Corpses, right, and Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
I said before I said that you could get a third one out with that. Yep. Everyone was arguing with us, like, what are you on about? You literally see them get shot to bits. And I'm like, you don't see them die. And they're like, they've been shot, they're dead. You can't get another one out of that. And then Three from Hell, a few years later, come out and I was like, I told you.
I watched Three from Hell a couple of days after I got married, and I absolutely loved it.
It's amazing. I really liked it as well.
I thought it was brilliant because, to be honest, you could put Bill Moseley and Sherry Moon in anything, and I would absolutely.
Well, to be fair, Rob Zombie is putting Sherry Moon in pretty much everything. I still don't agree with her being Lily Munster, but again, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, because he uses, it's like Tim Burton as well. I think.
Yeah, Johnny Depp and Helen Bonham Carter.
Don't fix it. I guess that's the theory with like actors and stuff.
But yeah, Tim Burton's got a tendency for his partner at the time. It was once Lisa Marie, and then it was Helena Bonham Carter, and also Johnny Depp, which is a constant creative partner. But Lisa Marie was chucked out the door the minute Helena Bonham Carter came on the picture.
Really?
Yeah, you won't see Lisa Marie. She's in everything. She plays Vampira in Ed Wood. She plays the mother in Sleepy Hollow. And then you tell when he's with Helena that she starts being in the films. She's his leading actress. Yeah.
That's a good point, actually, yeah.
He has a tendency for having his loves of his live as his leading ladies.
Yeah.
I am interested to see what the monsters do turn out, but I again, in my opinion, I don't see Sherry Moon being Lily, because again, no disrespect to Sherry Moon, she's not like the classy lady or the sophisticated lady like Lily Munster was already in the TV show. But
no, you're absolutely right. She plays crazy amazingly.
Yeah.
Like she really does. But can she play calm and collective? And I know we've seen it in Halloween. His Halloweens, she was quite calm. And her acting abilities were sure.
I can't tell what the Zoom is, and he's hoying things around the floor. I
love it.
Honestly, not getting the attention, bless him.
Oh my gosh, I want to fall. There we go. I'm not.
But like it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Obviously, I grew up with the Munsters as well, and I always wanted to be Lily Munster. She was just one of my sort of favourites, and obviously Morticia as well from the movie Angelica Houston. I literally wanted to be her when I was little.
She was beautiful.
Caroline Jones is my Morticia. Like, I don't get it wrong, love Angelica Houston, but Caroline Jones, when you look at the imagery,
totally,
I think she's stunning.
Yeah, completely. Like, because I think it was more along the lines of when I was little. I think it was more along the lines of like Angelica Houston, and when she was like the witches, she was always like the classy sort of, but then the evil. Yeah, beautiful.
I think The Witches is one of the scariest films ever made, to be honest.
Yeah,
you did put that in your top horror films, didn't you?
Yeah, like absolutely terrifying. Like, say, I had nightmares so much as a kid, even as an adult. Just like the little elements that they brought in, things like the painting aspect, and when you got cursed and put in the painting to age and with your family and not knowing you that even you're still there. But yeah, that is, like, say, one of my top films. Like, even like, say, as you said, Angelica Houston in that is absolutely stunning, but absolutely when she takes that mask off, and it's done so well where it doesn't feel campy or fake as well.
Yeah. There was who else was there? Like all the classic queens, like obviously the Bride of Frankenstein, Lily Munster, Elvira, Vampira as well. I like wanted to be them.
I still do.
Yeah, I try. I've cosplayed them all. I've actually cosplayed all of them. Vampira, obviously, she the original? I think she was.
She's the
I think it
original.
might have been Morticia.
Oh, but Morticia
she-
definitely, because Morticia comes from the comics that were like from the 1930s or something.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think they
Morticia
were-
is the original
Yeah.
one. Everything follows from her or inspired by her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of my makeup and stuff. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of inspired by a lot of things, but the vampira's eyebrows, the points,
Yeah.
I love eyebrows.
I have to, like I say, this is me not just like blowing smoke up your backside, but you are absolutely flawless. You look
You
absolutely
are
amazing as well.
stunning.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
If I didn't have so much makeup on, I'd be going red.
But I was going to ask though, what is the next cosplay that you're thinking of? Because I loved your Leatherface that you did as well.
Oh, like I forgot I did that as well. I enjoyed that a bit too much, you know. I got a bit too comfortable. I've sort of haven't really been doing like as much. I've been having like a little break from, because social media it gets too sort of overwhelming, especially with all the COVID and all the you know, that kind of thing. But I mean, I always have a list, to be quite honest with you. I was supposed to do the Grand High Witch actually for Halloween just gone.
Yeah.
But I ran out of time. So that, because I've got all the stuff to do it, like, you know, I bought the contact lenses and everything. So she could be making an appearance with everything does, like.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest maybe, like, say an appearance as your little friend next to you, like your cosplay as Annabelle. That would be
Annabelle as well, yeah. Like
that would be interesting just to see.
I don't know if you can see masks on the side. You can see some of them, but Leatherface over there.
I can see that Trick or Street Studio bag though.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite bags. Like,
just noticed the time as well. We are.
Yeah, we're at an hour.
So, is there anything else you want to add before I bring in the other guy?
I don't think so. Thank you for having us. It's been really nice.
It's been lovely to finally meet you.
I know.
It really is.
I haven't known where to look because, like, I'm on. You're on my phone, so Paul's like on the right hand side here. You're down here, and it's hard enough to look.
Oh, don't worry. I just don't look anymore. That's the thing. But hopefully, like, say if you want to come back on to the podcast again in the future, we would love to have you back on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for having us. It's been absolutely lovely to like sort of meet you and everything.
Cool.
Yeah, same here. You're gorgeous.
Oh, so you, man. Should we do like a screenshot of the like thing so we've got a photo to share or something?
Yeah, if you want to do that, it'll be great. Like I said, I don't have the ability.
This is like extreme close up. I don't like this. I'll put the creature on, shall I?
Yay!
Good evening.
It's hard to do it without. I can't do it with him there like that. The creature. All you can see is a white face.
You're right.
Like it's just ghost town. Right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Smile.
Right, there you go.
Right,
well,
thank you very much.
much.
Thank you very much, Peaches. Like I say, we'll hopefully be speaking to you soon. So have a nice evening then.
Bye, Peaches.
See ya.
See you later.